Good morning, all. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is your chapter number 7 from the NCERT book, and it is named as Coordinate Geometry. Now, in this particular chapter, we have to study three different topics. The first is about the introduction to the coordinate geometry, second is the distance formula, and third, it will be the section formula. Now today's task is to go with the introduction to coordinate geometry and the distance formula. Section formula will be considered in the next class. Uh, now, as per the axis system that we have already studied in our previous classes, we know that for any x or y axis, or the graphs that you have studied with the x minus x, y and minus y axis, we start with a point which is named as origin. It is a point where the two axes meet. Therefore, the two axes will be x and this y. As you can see, the right portion of this origin is known as the positive x-axis, and the left portion is known as negative x-axis, whereas the top portion of this origin is known as y-axis, and the bottom part is known as the minus y-axis. Now this is something that we have already studied. We know this, that this is x, this is y. To continue further, if I talk of these four quadrants, we have this as the first quadrant, this portion is known as the second quadrant, this will be your third quadrant, and the last one will be your fourth quadrant. If you see, we are going anti-clockwise direction. We are going in anti-clockwise, right? We start with their first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. Now, in this first quadrant, both are positive, or I can say that x is positive and y is also positive. In second quadrant, we have x as negative and y as positive. In third quadrant, we have both the coordinates as a negative, whereas in the fourth quadrant, we have x as positive and y as negative. Both are positive. One is negative and another is positive. Both are negative. Here x is positive and y is negative. Let's try a few examples with this. I have already prepared a table. Now see this point A, let us say it is having the coordinates as minus 8, 3. As we can see, the x coordinate is negative and the y part is positive. Therefore, we can say that this point is lying in second quadrant. Here both are positive, therefore the point will be lying in first quadrant. Here also we have both the x and y coordinates as positive, therefore it will lie in first quadrant. 0, 0, one point where we have no axis, no coordinates, we call this point as origin. Similarly, minus 3, minus 3, both are negative, therefore lying in third quadrant. Minus 6, 0. Now see, in this particular case, we have the y coordinate as 0, whereas the x coordinate is negative. Therefore, we can say that it is lying on this particular axis. Why? Because this is negative, right? Now, if this is plus 6, 0, then this will change as positive x-axis. If this is minus 6, 0, because this x is negative, right? Therefore, we have written here as negative x-axis. Means this point is lying somewhere on this line. Similarly, 0, minus 3. 0, minus 3 will be lying somewhere on this axis. Because this part is negative, right? X will remain 0. On this line, anywhere, the value of x is 0. Similarly, on this axis, anywhere the value of y is 0. Because this is minus 3, therefore we can say that it is lying on negative y-axis. Now, the next topic that we have to study is about the distance formula. This distance formula For this, let us assume a point A which is having the coordinates x1, y1. I am not going as per the values, I am just assuming a point whose coordinates are x1 and y1. It can be with any value. And another point B with the coordinates x2 and y2. Again, I am saying I don't care about the values, it is just the coordinate. It is for the reference I have taken it. Now, if I need to find the distance between A and B, this distance, the first step that I have to do is let us drop the two perpendiculars from the point like this. Now, from this, we will get one new point named as C, whose coordinates will be x1, y2. Now, why? See, on this particular line, the value of x will remain same because this is same, right? If this value is same, if you can see here, if it is x1, at this point again it will be x1, at this point again it will be x1. The only value that is changing is the value of y. So therefore, anywhere on this line the value of x will be x1 only. Therefore, I have taken this as x1. Similarly, on this particular line, the value of y is going to remain same. The value of x is changing. Therefore, if this is y2, this will remain as y2. Now we can see that a right angled triangle have been formed. Therefore, if I need to find this distance, it will be y2 minus y1, y2 minus y1. Similarly, here it will be x2 minus x1, x2 minus x1. We are already aware of the Pythagoras theorem, and the Pythagoras theorem says the perpendicular square plus the base square will give you the hypotenuse square, and this hypotenuse is nothing but the value AB. Hence, we can say that the value of AB will be y2 minus y1 the whole square, means the perpendicular square plus the base square and the whole root. This is all about the distance formula. Now, this whole graph and lines and the points and the coordinates were just to explain from where this formula has derived. As per the examination point of view, we should remember this formula because we can get a 3 marker or a 4 marker question on this particular formula. That's all for today. Thanks. Stay healthy and stay safe.